This is an update video on our Veeam portal and the numerous improvements we've made. This is a solution we use for ourselves internally, and now we have several other service providers using our platform. We get valuable feedback from other service providers and through our own experience in monitoring 4,000 backup jobs, and we're making improvements all the time. Our overall goal is to allow efficiency in checking backups without missing anything important. Let's go over the basics of how our portal gathers information. Our Veeam monitoring portal platform runs in AWS. If you're a service provider with your own Veeam Cloud Connect and Veeam Service Provider Console, we can easily integrate with your Veeam Service Provider Console, which we use to gather all the information for our portal. If you do not have Veeam Service Provider Console already, you're able to use ours instead. You can even leverage our platform if you're using another service provider. I would like to stress that no backup data has to come to us, and we can provide just a monitoring platform. On the other hand, if you're looking for a complete turnkey backup and disaster recovery service, we have everything you need for a white label solution. We understand the importance of white labeling our solution and have worked hard to provide a portal that looks like your brand using your URL. For example, here I have portal.samplemsp.com, which I will use to demonstrate things. But I'll also point out that if I go to portal.managecast.com, or if I go to portal.vmo365.com, I receive a similar but uniquely branded portal. We can use any URL for our portal and brand any portal for any MSP. Nowhere on these other portals will you see the name Managecast. It's a true white label experience, and we went out of our way to be invisible. Also, it doesn't have to say portal. We could use backups.company.com or any URL you wish to choose. Let's review some of the new features of the portal. We originally developed the calendar view and the dashboard, and another service provider requested we provide a full screen calendar option. So we did, plus added new capabilities. We designed this screen as an alternative to the daily check screen, and it allows us to see patterns that may be difficult to see otherwise. If you select a particular day, it shows a long-term history of that job, including any past errors that you can easily navigate to and see. It also shows us the amount of data that was transferred, indicated by the blue line. And then the black line is the duration of the job. We also made it to where you can easily acknowledge an event, create a ticket, or generate an ignore rule. We can also select a longer period of time to view, as well as being able to sort by a particular company or a particular job. Another cool capability is that we started listing the duration of the job under the calendar view, as well as being able to see the size of the job on the calendar view. So you can easily see the jobs that are generating the most amount of change. The daily check screen is where our engineers spend the bulk of their time, and we've added new features here as well. When we hire new support engineers, we have to quickly get them up to speed. We wanted to create an expert system that would help train the engineers as they do their jobs. So we developed hints based on key phrases. We then hyperlinked those phrases to useful blog postings where we provide information on many of the possible reasons for this message. We are constantly adding to this repository of hints, making our system more and more educational as we add more content. And as you can see, we've added quite a few hints that are already defined. This feature can be disabled if you do not want to include our hints, or we can enable the service provider to create their own hints and links to their website. We've also added additional functionality through these tabs at the top. We did have the Didn't Run tab before, but now we have Disabled, which shows us any jobs that have been disabled. Sometimes a customer will disable a job and forget to re-enable it, and we wanted to differentiate that between a job that hadn't run for some other reason. Inaccessible means that we've lost contact with the site. Maybe there's an internet connection problem, maybe they're down, maybe they've had a power outage, but inaccessible means we've lost all contact with their site. Going back to the job screen, we've also added a sophisticated ignore rules engine. We have customers that, for whatever reason, will not fix a particular error. Maybe they're unwilling or unable, but whatever the reasoning, they won't fix the error. Instead of continuing to see that error, we like to suppress it so that we no longer have to spend any time on it. So we created a rules engine to allow us to ignore that information. However, we want to be very precise and very careful with this so that we don't exclude something from another customer that might be important to us. So we can be very, very specific. I'll just create a test here. So we have different facts we can choose. I'm going to choose job name. So the job name has to be or has to equal the job that I'm working with, which was the job I was on when we chose the ignore button. And then I can choose to automatically ignore that. Now, I might not want to ignore the entire job. That could be dangerous. So I can add a little bit more criteria here. I can say if the failure message contains this particular VM name, then I can go ahead and ignore that. Then we click on save, and now that will be ignored automatically in the future. Now, it won't affect any of the past entries that have come in, but any new rules or any new jobs that come in that match that criteria will be automatically suppressed. If I ever need to see that, I can click on the ignored button and see my ignored messages, which in this case, I don't have any yet, but that's how you can go back and actually see the things we suppress. So the idea is that if it's red or yellow and it's a nuisance message, I don't want to waste my time or my engineer's time on figuring out what's going on or spending any time on it, even if it's just a second or two. If they don't see it at all, it's a second or two that we save. And we multiply that over thousands of backups, which can be a huge time savings. We've also added reports. The user logs will show who is logging in and using the system and what they're doing, such as acknowledging events and creating tickets. This is a good way for management to verify that their team is using the portal, because it's hard to monitor the backups when users are not logging in and creating tickets. We also added a Veeam licensing report that shows you all the categories of licensing. In addition, you can go back in time and see the license usage at any point. We have plans to add a graph and other reports around the license usage to show the growth over time. Another feature is scheduled reports, which allow us to automate sending summaries of backup status to users. I'll go ahead and create a new report. We can choose to have an all customers report, which is good for reporting on all customers internally, but more commonly, we have a customer report that we can send to an individual customer. I'll go ahead and create a test report. I'm going to select this as daily, enable it. Now I can choose the companies that I want to report on. In this case, it's going to be Mercy Health. I can also select the users this goes to, and I can also choose external addresses if needed to. Then click on Save, and here's my report. It's enabled, which means it's going to run automatically. I'll go ahead and choose Send Now so I don't have to wait for the schedule. So this report from Mercy Health shows all of the backups that ran. We also include the last or most recent success, and we provide the job details of every run during this period. There's quite a few in this case because we have a job that runs every hour. And if there's any errors, warnings, or failures, we note that along with the message. So a pretty good summary report of this particular customer. We've also added an analytics report, which is great to measure whether your backups are trending worse or better. And this is great for management to understand if things are improving or not. Sometimes looking at a longer time frame will allow you to see that more clearly. Again, this is a sample environment, but this shows that about 5% of my jobs are experiencing a warning or a failure. It also shows the top problems. So this is great for engineers to determine who is generating the most errors by focusing on the customers that generate the most errors and then resolving them. It will have a direct impact on how well this graph is trending. So it's great for management as well as great for techs to make sure that your backups are trending in the right direction. And we continue to add reports as we get requests for new features. We understand that reporting is a very important aspect of our portal, and we continue to do development around this. So stay tuned in the future for additional reports that we will be rolling out. We will have a separate video focusing on the Veeam for Microsoft 365 backup part of our portal, but I will touch on a few items. We completely integrated Veeam backup for Microsoft 365 into our portal. If you have a machine running Veeam backup for Microsoft 365, we can completely manage that instance through our portal. If you do not want to host your own instance of Veeam backup for Microsoft 365, you can leverage ours, including the back-end storage for a complete turnkey solution. From the portal, you will be able to provision new Microsoft 365 organizations, set up new jobs or edit existing ones, change retention policies, and access the Veeam Restore portal. If you wish, you can delegate end users to be able to restore their own data. And of course, you can monitor the Microsoft 365 jobs using our portal. In addition, other MSPs or independent consultants that have multiple clients will be able to monitor and manage all of their clients from a single pane of glass. Thank you so much for watching our update video on our Veeam monitoring portal. Since we launched the portal in 2020, we've made numerous improvements and will continue to add new features. Stay tuned for more videos like an in-depth demo on our Microsoft 365 portal and more. If you'd like to try out our portal, please contact us using one of the options on the screen. We'd be happy to chat and see if the portal could be a good fit for your business.